we will come to another good state. What is that state? Nishta. That state has to come. Now Arjuna is going through this difficulty, but if you actually see him, his submission is a deep submission out of unavoidable situation. Please understand. That means Arjuna is not seeing anything else other than the shelter of Lord. That means if the sadhaka comes to this state, this is the greatest state, dear devotees. Please understand. Because through this state, real submission will come. Now, submission also, there are different grades. What is one level of submission? One can submit just like a children, they submit to the parents. That is one level of submission. That means if the parents are very nicely speaking to the child, the child will hear the words of the father or the mother. But if the parents are not, are little aggressive or they are against the words of the daughter or the son, then the child will rebel. That means the submission is breaking there. Please understand, this is very important what we are discussing. How and why submission will come, and then why submission will go away, and what needs to be done to maintain the submission. Because if these things are there, then only to the question of Basmati Mataji yesterday, that can be sustained. Otherwise, we cannot sustain that. That means the desires will dominate us. Desires will dominate what? Desires will actually dominate Krishna consciousness. Please understand. As we are new to the process now, we are new. How many years you've been practicing? 2 years, 3 years, 5 years, 10 years. It's new only. 10 years is new. 20, 30 years also. After that, 20, 30 years, the desires will dominate us. Please understand. One time, Srila Prabhupada disciple was actually writing in a backward magazine. It's a very honest magazine. It's very sincere sadhaka. What he wrote is very interesting. He said he was going on a cruise. See, going on a cruise itself is it's a problem, but somehow he wants to go, he went. Okay. But going in the cruise, seeing all the people, he got a desire to break the four regulative principles. That means, please understand, after 30 years of practice of Krishna consciousness, the desires can dominate us. Because material nature will not live. Then at that moment, he took the shelter of his spiritual master, Srila Prabhupada. Very nicely took the shelter. And then somehow by taking his shelter, he was blessed. And then he writes in that article that somehow I was saved by the mercy of Srila Prabhupada. I was protected. And then I did not deviate from disobeying the four regulative principles. He openly declared it. Why? Because what he did, he took shelter. He understood, he intensely prayed. Because praying, understanding, taking shelter is very important na, at that moment, because it is difficult state. Na. Through the difficult state, what is happening? Is praying for mercy. He received the mercy. Through that, dear devotee, especially during the difficult times, that was a very difficult time in his life. Because difficulty comes from internal only. Dear devotee, we don't see difficulties outside. It's all in the internal only. The difficulty is coming in the internal. What he's doing, he's actually depending. Through the dependency, he receives the mercy, and then he says that after that situation, his life or his practice of Krishna consciousness went to next level. Because what is happening? Conviction is increasing. But what is the reason of depending at that particular moment? How is that his heart is telling to depend at that moment? Because it's continuously in association. That is a secret. If you want to see your heart reciprocating in the right way, have good attitude towards Vaishnavas. Never have ill attitude towards any Vaishnava. Any sadhaka who's practicing. You might be 1 year, 2 year, doesn't matter. You have good attitude towards them. That's it. If somebody is talking ill about the other person, don't even ask the name of that person. Because if you remember the name of that person, then when you see that person, all those bad things you'll remember about that particular person. That means your consciousness, what is happening to your consciousness, it's not infecting, it is infecting. It is better stay away from that. But if a person is actually speaking good, genuinely speaking, which glories of the other, we should actually ask. Because when you ask the name, then you'll remember those good things, na? And when you actually think about that, it will not only help that person, it will help you also a lot. It will help a lot. Because just the submission, one word of submission, if you begin thinking about that, unlimited, multifold expansion. That means multifold, we can actually work on that particular plane simultaneously. It's possible. That means you were discussing about that submission, right? Right? What is that submission? That submission, children towards a parent is one level of submission. Disciple towards a spiritual master, another level of submission. Disciple, surrendered disciple, submission to his spiritual master, another level. You are my life and soul. That kind of submission to the spiritual master and the acharya, that is another level. That is a level of Srila Prabhupada and his pure followers. That is a top level. That means you're ready to do anything to please the spiritual master. Now, when that desire is there, unwanted desires are there nothing actually in front of them. Because submission is very powerful, dear devotees. That means no matter how many difficulties are coming, people even are they're spitting on us, still we will not be rejected through that. We'll be happy. See, dejection and rejection is comes internally only. If the heart is weak, we reject. Just like Arjuna. Prabhupada actually proclaims, see, Arjuna has a very soft heart. And this soft heart is actually congenial to practice Krishna consciousness. Because the moment he has seen the family members, he says that I cannot fight. What is that? What does that mean that I cannot fight? What is his state of consciousness? Please try to understand. He's because he has so much gratitude towards his family members. How can he kill them? If we get that situation, do we do that? We don't do that. Then what do? We immediately take shelter and request for mercy. What should I do at this particular moment? I'm just giving an example because it is a difficult state. Because through those difficulties, only real submission will come. Dear devotees, if the difficulties are not there, submission will not come. Please understand. If the difficulties are not there, all this discussion will be theoretical. That means one cannot really relish. We remember the words over. We remember like we should depend, we should surrender, we should submit, we should check our heart, consciousness. I need to check the consciousness. But if the difficulties are not coming, they will all be theory process. Please understand. We don't want theory in Krishna consciousness. We want practical. That means when the difficulties are coming, you should actually apply these things. Please understand. ऐसा ही होएगा. Otherwise, these things will not manifest. Please understand. You should have some situations. I remember my spiritual master telling, very interesting. He says that unless and until difficulties are there, if are not there, how do you know that how much progress you have done in Krishna consciousness? It's interesting. When we think about it, it is very interesting. Just we cannot understand. समझ में ही नहीं आएगा. We cannot think because externally we'll find faults in others. And we'll think that that person is not devotee, this person is not devotee. Then what is happening? Who is affected? That person is not affected. We are affected actually. Please understand, because our consciousness, we're thinking like that. Dear devotees, please understand. Whatever you think, that is what we speak. For example, if you're speaking ill about another devotee, let's say Vaswati Mataji calling Sushilpa Mataji and talking to, I know you don't talk like this, but I'm just giving an example that they're talking about another devotee. And what is happening? In that situation, what is happening? The heart of Basmati Mataji is shared to Sushilpa Mataji. Now, Sushilpa Mataji, when she sees that person, she will remember what Basmati Mataji said because they both are friends. The both are discussing good things, then she'll remember good. Both are discussing not good things, then they'll remember those things. That means we should be open slate. Please understand. Our consciousness should be open slate. When it is open slate, what happens is we take right association only. We will not take other association because we gave that slate to them. Please understand. What is a surrendered soul? He will give the slate to his teacher, to his spiritual master. Then that spiritual master will use that slate and then he will write everything. And those, whatever he has written, that they will keep in the heart. And then they will see this world through those words. Then they will see the revelations in the heart. Then Divya Gyan Hridaya Prakashita will be manifested. Then that becomes devotion. Through that devotion, submission will come. Then you will understand. Submission is very deep. Submission is very. That means if one is submitting means he'll not do anything else other than that. Please understand. That means if he is doing anything else other than that, that means he never submitted. That means his submission is on a surface level. That means his submission is on a I said, right? Submission are a different grades. His submission are like a child submission. It's like a child is also submitting to the parents. You know what, father, I will do this. Or mother, I will do this. Amma, tomorrow I'll get up for Mangalarti. Don't worry, I'll get up for Mangalarti. But she'll not get up for Mangalarti. It is not her problem. It's not her problem, her situation. She's child, na? So somehow or other, we should try. We should tell this thing, that thing, and then try to wake them up. Because it is important. That's a quality. That's a culture they need to learn. That means they need to learn that submission. That means how that submission comes. They should see the person. To person only, na, they will submit. Do they submit to some air, or do they directly submit to Krishna? Because they're not seeing Krishna, na. No, I'm also not seeing. Or you might be seeing. I'm not seeing. But you can feel their presence. Please understand. So that submission should come through his representatives. That means that representative should give that conviction in their heart. That representative should not force also. Please understand. A representative cannot force that person. For example, you don't see spiritual master holding the knife and then telling the sadhaka, submit, submit, submit. No. It's not a force. It's not force. A submission comes through relation. Arjuna is submitting through relation. No, it's a deep subject. So we just began. We'll continue because 2.7 is very important. We just started today. We didn't even went into the details of the purport also. So it is very, very important. Please understand, dear devotees, my request. If this principle of submission is rightly applied in our life, this will be your last life. I'm telling you again, if this principle of submission is rightly applied, as per the words of the spiritual master, as per what Srila Prabhupada is telling us, if this principle is applied rightly, correct way, you will not again come back. I'll guarantee this. You'll go back, come back to God. But that principle has to be applied. If the submission is not deep, if the submission is in the surface level, then the other desires will dominate. For sure, I'll write it down. This thing has to be applied, no matter what. So I'll stop here. Anyone would like to add anything? I have to quickly wind off in few minutes. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, and Pranam all Krishna.
We'll discuss tomorrow about this aspect some more. Not somewhat, there's more actually to discuss on this. Hare Krishna. Am I making sense? Is it okay?
Yes, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna. Thank you so much, Prabhuji, for giving us every day and the nectar and the importance of surrender, because in this material world, so many things we cannot even, as you mentioned, right?
Hare Krishna.
Can you hear me, Prabhuji?
Thank you. If nobody wants to speak, I'll stop here. Yes, Sudhir Prabhu. Subal Gopal Prabhu, please tell.
Yeah, sorry, Prabhuji. Can you hear me, Prabhuji? Hare Krishna.
Krishna. 1 second, my volume is low. Please, 1 second. 1 second. Sorry about that. Please speak, Prabhu. Subal Prabhu.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Can you hear me, Prabhuji?
Yes, Prabhu, I can hear. I increased the volume. Please speak.
Oh, thank you, Prabhuji. Yeah, thank you very much, Prabhuji, for giving us this nectar every day and telling us the importance of surrender. If we don't surrender, we are surrendering to somebody, something else, material, and this is very uncertain, in this country or everywhere actually in this material world. And Prabhuji, just this week, half of our team were let go. So a very scary situation in this material world. So that's why I was thinking, they have been working, like, one of my colleague was working with 38 years, and he just got an email 6 a.m. that, thank you for your service. And that's it.
Hmm.
So in that way, and as you mentioned, like Lord Krishna, how many times, he's giving us everything, but he's never expecting, as you said, a mother or father tell, oh, you go out, but they don't desire his son to go out. They want
Correct.
to, give more affection. So of late, I have been contemplating more, Prabhuji, to give more, and to Krishna consciousness, because this temporary world can end
Correct.
anytime. Yeah. Thank you so much, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna. So how should we develop that kind of conviction, Prabhuji? Of course, you are telling us, but sometimes while working and all, we forget all those. Again, we are in our rat race. But again, when we are hearing to you, we get that conviction. So I think we need, if you can help us to balance that. Thank you, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
Definitely. We'll discuss more about that. So tomorrow we'll go in detail and then try to discuss the power of submission and how to develop that conviction. We'll discuss more about it. And then probably any situation which is actually coming in our life, we need to understand Krishna is giving us a wake up call that that this place is definitely uncertain. But one thing is not certain. That one thing is you have an eternal relationship with the Lord. That is for sure. That is not uncertain. Jivara Swarupa Krishna Nitya, that is not uncertain. That is permanent. But that conviction, to understand that that is certain, for that only, na, we should do sadhana, we should do Shravana Kirtana, we should hear attentively, we should discuss those aspects. We'll discuss more of how to actually develop that conviction. Because if we actually, Srila Prabhupada went through so many difficulties. But what was the conviction he carried? What did he do to actually be convinced that he has to follow his works of his spiritual master? So, Prabhupada, he himself tells about this. We'll discuss about that. Then we'll discuss few practical examples also. Because please understand this, dear devotees. I'll tell you again. Share my personal experience also. So after quitting the job, things are different. But one thing is for sure, understanding very deeply from the heart, Krishna, through the words of the spiritual master, is driving us. Sure. There's no doubt of it. Because when you do, when we have certain things in our life, and when those things are gone from our life, how is the life treating us? That means if you actually see at the time of death, all the things which we have will be removed for sure, no doubt about it. That means if things are removed before that is happening, and then we are getting an opportunity to reflect, contemplate on that, to move forward. This is a great benediction actually for us. It's a great solace for us actually, because that solace will actually drive us further. So these things, every person will get their reflections. All one we need to do is we need to just follow what our spiritual master has done. Tomorrow morning, I'll get an opportunity to meet him in person. So I have to share few things to him because through his association only we are like this today. Whatever little conviction he got, it's only because of those personalities. So that clearly indicates that they are the source of worship. Because before those personalities came, Srila Prabhupada's presence was different. But after those personalities came, their presence, Srila Prabhupada's presence, Guru Parampara's presence, it's totally different. Now, how that is different? that will actually change based on how we are taking our decisions, based on what kind of desires we have. We'll discuss more about this in detail tomorrow. I have a hard stop now. Yes, Subal Pro, you're saying something.
Yes, Prabhuji. Thank you so much, Prabhuji. Thank you, Prabhuji.
Right, right. Thank you. We'll stop here. If I caused any inconvenience, please excuse me. We'll continue this tomorrow. Please don't miss tomorrow. We will discuss in detail. Hare Krishna. Thank you all very much. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Hare Krishna.